Hello student, this video lecture is prepared for the particulate technology subject for diploma student, and I will discuss the unit number 5, that is known as the sedimentation. In a previous lecture, I had discussed about what are the different types of thickeners, that is batch and continuous. And today we will discuss what is the role of coagulants in a filtration and sedimentation, and what is the working principle of the coagulants. So, before going to details of coagulants, I will just want to show the actual photos of the door thickener, that means continuous thickener. So, if we look at this figure, this is the actually photo of that schematic figure of that door thickener, which is used as a continuous. So, here the feed is going in this feed well. This is called a feed well. This is called a rake, and these are the supports. And at the top of this tank, there is a drive mechanism is provided. So this will rotate the slurry, and here we obtain the overflow. So this is the actually photo for the door thickener. So this is that bridge. This is the clear liquid, and these are the rotating mechanism. Again I will show. So here if we look at this figure, this is the rotating mechanism, this is that bridge, and here this is the feed well. So here that liquid is dilute slurry is introduced here, and that slurry is settled in this tank, and this is the rake. Rake is nothing but it is just for scrapping. We are using the rake, or stirring purpose we can say. And again this is the actually top view. So here we are having that overflow. It is called a launder, and this is the driving mechanism. Again there is another figure of door thickener. Okay, so these are the some actual photos of that door thickener that will be used in a chemical or petrochemical industry. The next part is the coagulation or coagulants. So what is meant by coagulate or coagulation? So coagulation consists of adding small amount of coagulants to water, which form flocculating precipitate, which coalesce with the suspended impurities and cause them to sink rapidly. When the coagulants are added into sedimentation tank, the settling of the solid particles will occur rapidly, and the supernatant liquid will be very clear. Okay. So sometimes what is happening, there are some colloid particles. So what is meant by colloid particles? These are having size less than 1 micron. Maybe microorganism, color producing compound, or some finely divided solid particles. So these particles does not settle in a gravity settling tank or sedimentation tank. So for that purpose we have to add the coagulants in that sedimentation tank. So what these coagulants do? They form a precipitate, and that precipitate will settle down at the bottom of that tank. So here alum or aluminum sulfate or ferrous sulfate, so these are used as a coagulants, and aluminum sulfate is also called a alum. So if we added this alum in that liquid, it will form a precipitate of that finely divided particle, that means these colloid particles, and they are settled down and can be removed from the sand filter. Okay, so for that purpose you have to make that water slightly alkaline. So alkaline means you have to just add soda ash or lime in that water. So you have to maintain this pH of that liquid 6 to 8. That means alkaline, you have to maintain that pH, and then you have to add the aluminum sulfate or ferrous sulfate. So by adding that, we will separate that colloid particles from that dilute slurry. So I will show here. So this is actually working principle of coagulants. So coagulants means nothing but these are the chemicals like aluminum sulfate or ferrous sulfate, and these are the impurities or the particles which do not settle at the bottom. So after adding these coagulants in this tank, the particles form a FOLC, F-L-O-C. So this is called a FOLC formation, and that FOLC after formation of the FOLC, it will precipitate like this. Okay, or they are coalesced. That means they are coming together by this adding of alum or ferrous sulfate, and they will settle down as shown in this figure. So this is the role of coagulants in maybe filtration or sedimentation. You can use this in filtration also or sedimentation. So I will show the figure of that aluminum sulfate. So this is called a aluminum sulfate. So this you can be add, or in home also we are adding this alum for purification of that water, or you can add this ferrous sulfate. So these are the crystals of ferrous sulfate. You have to just add that into the dilute slurry, and it will collect that colloid particles or that particles which do not settle, and precipitate is formed. In this way we can separate the clear liquid and that sludge. So this is the role of coagulants. So now this chapter is over. So I will conclude this chapter. So we just discuss what are the points are covered in these units. So first I had discussed about the concept and principle of sedimentation. Then we have discussed what are the types of settling, that is pre-settling, hindered settling. Then I had defined what is the meaning of that terminal falling velocity or terminal velocity. Then we saw the difference between sedimentation filtration, sedimentation centrifugation, and sedimentation and classification. After that, I had discussed laboratory batch sedimentation, which is carried out in a laboratory, and from that how to draw the settling velocity curve, that we had also discussed. Then equipment which is called a for the sedimentation is called a thickener. So that thickeners are having two types, batch and continuous. That also we had discussed in a previous lectures. And in today's lecture I have discussed about what is meant by coagulants and what is the role of coagulants in filtration and sedimentation. So up to this part you are having these points for this unit number 5, that is known as the sedimentation chapter. So here I declare that the chapter is completed and you must solve the tutorial. So I will show the what are the questions of tutorial and upload that tutorial on Google Classroom. So first question is define the sedimentation and state its application. That means where this sedimentation is applicable. Then you have to define the term like free settling, hindered settling. Then we have to differentiate between sedimentation and filtration. So this question I had also discussed. Then you have to explain what is the role of coagulants in sedimentation and filtration. The next question is draw the net sketch of door thickener. So door thickener is a continuous thickener. So we had that figure, that book or in notes. So that you can draw from notes. Then again you have to differentiate sedimentation and centrifugation or fugation. So this is the one of the type of the filtration. So sedimentation and centrifugation you have to differentiate. And last you have to define what is the mean by terminal falling or settling velocity. So these are the some typical questions for tutorial number 5. So thank you.